For years, Sister Wives fans believed they knew everything about the Browns. The drama between Kody, his wives, and their children was displayed in raw detail for the cameras. But behind the scenes, there were truths never fully told, moments that didn't make it to air, and feelings that remained buried until now. And in a stunning twist, Christine's kids are finally speaking up. They've broken their silence, not just about Kody's favoritism, not just about Robyn's role in the family, but about Meri, the woman who was once seen as the stoic first wife, the pillar of the family, is now being thrust into the spotlight for reasons no one expected. The truth? Meri's parenting style left scars, and Christine's kids are ready to share exactly what that meant for them. The myth of the family matriarch. Meri was Kody's first wife, the original partner in the plural marriage experiment. For years, she carried herself as though she were the matriarch, the standard setter, the one holding the moral compass of the family. On screen, she often presented herself as controlled, disciplined, and serious about the rules. Compared to the lighter energy of Christine or the pragmatic calm of Janelle, Meri stood out as rigid. But Christine's kids paint a different picture. Behind the scenes, they say Meri's approach wasn't nurturing. It was strict to the point of fear. Instead of warmth, they describe tension. Instead of comfort, they remember harshness. And now, as adults looking back, they're not holding back their truth. Christine's kids speak out. For years, Christine's children avoided speaking against any of the parents directly. Loyalty, respect, and fear of fallout kept them silent. But that silence is over. One of Christine's daughters shared, "We were kids, and sometimes we felt like we were walking on eggshells around Meri. It didn't feel safe to be ourselves." Another child recalled moments of discipline that felt less like guidance and more like control. It wasn't about teaching us. It was about power. And as kids, we just knew we didn't want to be around that. The stories are heartbreaking, but eye-opening. These weren't just disagreements between children and an adult. They were formative experiences that shaped how Christine's kids viewed parenting, family, and even themselves. And here's the surprising part. Christine herself had hinted at some of this long ago, but fans didn't fully understand what she meant. Until now. Christine's protective instinct. If you look back at old Sister Wives episodes, Christine was often the buffer between the kids and Meri. She was the one who softened harsh moments, who created joy and laughter when tension rose. Christine's protective energy is now making more sense. Her kids say she often shielded them, making sure they felt safe even when things with Meri grew heavy. One daughter explained, "Mom was our safe place. She was sunshine in the middle of all the chaos. When things with Meri felt too strict, too cold, Mom would remind us that we were loved and valued." Christine's protective energy may be the reason her kids today speak so openly. They grew up with an example of gentleness and resilience that taught them it's okay to tell the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. The shocking parenting truth. So, what exactly is the shocking truth about Meri's parenting? It's not just that she was strict, it's that her style left emotional wounds. Christine's kids describe a pattern where discipline turned into control, where criticism cut deep, and where affection was rare. One son admitted, "It felt like we had to earn approval, and even when we tried, it was never enough." Another revealed that they sometimes dreaded being left in Meri's care because the atmosphere was so heavy. We didn't feel like kids. We felt like we were constantly being watched, constantly judged. For viewers who once saw Meri as the victim wife in Kody's shifting affections, these revelations are startling. The narrative flips. While Meri suffered as Kody drifted toward Robyn, Christine's kids say that Meri herself created suffering in their childhood. The silence that protected the truth. Why didn't these stories come out earlier? The kids say it was partly loyalty, partly fear. On television, the Browns projected unity, even when cracks showed. Admitting that one of the wives created fear in the children would have shattered the carefully built image. And for the kids, speaking up against an adult figure was unthinkable. It wasn't until they became adults themselves, with children of their own, that they realized how important it was to tell their truth. Now they're reclaiming their voices. And in doing so, they're shining a light on the complexities of growing up in a plural family, where not all mothers felt like mothers. Fans react, shock, and reflection. The fan base has always been vocal, but these revelations sparked a firestorm. Some fans feel betrayed, angry that Meri, who often played the role of the lonely, overlooked wife, may have inflicted pain on the very children she was supposed to help raise. Others see it as a reminder of how complicated the plural family dynamic truly was. With so many kids, so many personalities, and so many competing loyalties, maybe it was inevitable that someone would become the strict one. But many fans agree on one thing: Christine's kids deserve to be heard. Their voices, long silenced, are finally shaping the narrative. Meri's side of the story. Of course, Meri herself has not stayed completely silent over the years. She has admitted to struggles, loneliness, anger, frustration. She has acknowledged that her marriage to Kody was often painful and that she sometimes projected her feelings onto others. But what Christine's kids describe goes beyond occasional bad moods. It paints a picture of consistent coldness, of a parenting approach that left lasting marks. Meri may argue her intentions were good. She may say she believed in discipline, in structure, in rules. But intention and impact are not the same, and the impact, as Christine's children make clear, was damaging. Christine's victory in truth. The timing of these revelations couldn't be more powerful. Christine, who has been celebrated for reclaiming her life, is now being seen not just as a woman who left Kody, but as a mother who saved her children. Her kids' willingness to speak their truth is a testament to the safe space she created for them. It's proof that parenting rooted in love endures, even when surrounded by dysfunction. And it's a reminder that sometimes the bravest act isn't leaving a marriage, it's raising children with kindness in an environment filled with control. The larger lesson. Beyond the Brown family drama lies a lesson that resonates with millions. Parenting isn't just about providing food or shelter. It's about creating emotional safety. It's about allowing children to grow without fear. Meri's shocking parenting truth forces us to confront the reality that even adults who appear victimized can themselves perpetuate cycles of hurt. And Christine's kids remind us that children never forget how adults made them feel. For fans, for parents, and for anyone reflecting on their own childhood, this story strikes a chord. It says, what you do in the lives of children matters. They will remember. Where does the family go from here? So what happens now? Meri's image is once again under scrutiny. Fans who once saw her as sympathetic now question her role in the larger dysfunction. Christine's kids continue to speak, and their voices grow stronger by the day. As for Christine, she stands tall, not just as a woman who broke free from Kody's shadow, but as a mother who gave her kids the courage to break their silence. And in the end, perhaps that's the most shocking truth of all, that love and gentleness outlast fear, and that the children of this family are rewriting the story in their own words. Closing reflections. The Browns built their fame on the idea of unity, but Christine's kids have revealed what lay beneath the surface: fractured relationships, hidden pain, and a parenting truth that changes everything we thought we knew about Meri. This isn't just reality TV drama, it's real life. It's the story of children who grew up under conflicting influences, some harsh, some kind, and who now have the courage to name what shaped them. And as they speak, they offer us all a reminder: the truth always rises. parenting isn't remembered in rules or punishments, but in the way it makes children feel. Meri may have carried herself as the strong first wife, but Christine's kids, they carry the truth, and that truth has finally set them free. For years, sister wives pulled back the curtain on the life of the Brown family. A sprawling household built on the principles of plural marriage, but riddled with tension, secrets, and rivalries. Fans thought they had seen it all. Kody's unraveling authority, Robyn's rise as the favored wife, Christine's bold exit, and Janelle's quiet resilience. But just when you thought the dust had settled, Christine's children have stepped forward with revelations no one expected. Their target isn't Kody. It isn't Robyn. This time, it's Meri, the original wife, the so-called matriarch, the woman long portrayed as Kody's first love turned cast-aside partner. And what Christine's kids are revealing about Meri's parenting is rewriting the story of the Brown family in ways both heartbreaking and shocking. The carefully crafted image of Meri. For much of the show's run, Meri was painted as the tragic figure. She was the first wife who lost her place as Kody's number one. She was the woman who struggled with infertility, the one who yearned for connection but found herself increasingly alone as Kody built new bonds with his younger wives. To the audience, Meri was sympathetic. She was the overlooked wife, the one Kody dismissed and Robyn overshadowed. Viewers pitied her. Many even rooted for her redemption. But according to Christine's children, behind the camera, a much different Meri emerged. One that didn't just struggle with her own pain, but, in their words, passed it on to the kids. Christine's kids break their silence. The breaking point came after Christine left Flagstaff and started speaking her truth about her marriage to Kody. Her children, inspired by their mother's courage, began opening up as well. And the stories they tell aren't easy to hear. One daughter admitted, "We didn't like being around Meri when we were kids. She was cold, harsh. Sometimes it felt like we couldn't breathe around her." Another child described moments when Meri's words cut deeper than discipline should. It wasn't just about rules, it felt personal, like we were never good enough for her. For years, the silence protected Meri's reputation, but Christine's kids say the truth had to come out. And now, as adults, they're giving voice to the childhood experiences that shaped them. The shocking parenting truth. So, what exactly is the truth? Christine's kids describe a childhood where Meri's version of parenting felt more like control than care. Discipline wasn't balanced with affection. Correction wasn't softened with compassion. One son revealed, "When Mom wasn't around, we dreaded being left with Meri. It wasn't a warm environment. It was strict, scary even." And it wasn't just about rules like chores or bedtime. Christine's kids claim Meri had a way of making them feel unwelcome in her space. You always knew when you'd crossed the line, but sometimes you didn't even know what the line was until you were in trouble. This wasn't the picture fans saw on screen, but for the children, it was the reality of growing up in a house where 4 women parented in drastically different ways. Christine, the buffer and the protector. What kept the kids grounded was Christine. Known for her bright laugh, her humor, and her insistence on making holidays magical, she became the shield that softened the blows of Meri's strictness. Christine's kids credit her with giving them balance. They said, "Mom was our safe place. She gave us joy when things felt heavy. She protected us without ever saying it out loud." It's no wonder Christine's kids feel so loyal to her now. She wasn't just their mother. She was their guardian against the shadows they felt creeping in from elsewhere in the family. And now, in adulthood, their decision to speak up feels like an extension of her bravery. Christine walked away from Kody. Her kids are walking away from silence. Meri struggles behind the scenes. To understand Meri's behavior, we have to look at her own pain. Meri admitted throughout the series that she struggled deeply with infertility, jealousy, and resentment as Kody's love drifted toward other wives. She confessed to being lonely and angry. She was, by her own words, stuck. But Christine's kids say Meri's struggles often spilled over onto them. Instead of finding compassion in her, they found judgment. Instead of motherly warmth, they found tension. The result? A fractured relationship that continues to haunt them, even now. The emotional scars. The kids' testimonies highlight something important: the emotional weight children carry when adults fail them. One of Christine's sons admitted, "It took me years to realize some of the anxiety I had came from my childhood around her. I didn't even know it at the time." Another daughter reflected, "When I had kids of my own, I promised myself I'd be different. I'd make sure my kids knew they were loved no matter what." These confessions are powerful because they show how deeply parenting styles leave marks. Christine's kids are not just recounting memories, they're showing how those experiences shaped their adulthood. The fan reaction is shock and betrayal. As news of these revelations spread, fans erupted with strong reactions. Some feel betrayed. They remember feeling pity for Meri, defending her against Kody's coldness and Robyn's favoritism. To now hear that she may have inflicted pain on the children feels like a betrayal of the audience's trust. Others say this is simply another reminder that the Browns' lives were far more complicated than the cameras ever showed. With so many kids, so many personalities, and constant competition for attention, maybe it was inevitable that not every adult was nurturing. But the overwhelming reaction? Sympathy for Christine's kids, who lived through it quietly and are only now finding their voices. Meri's response, or lack of one. Meri hasn't directly addressed these specific allegations, but in past interviews and posts, she's admitted to being a work in progress. She's spoken about her temper, her frustrations, and her regrets. Still, Christine's kids insist that what they endured wasn't just about a few bad days. It was a pattern. Whether Meri chooses to defend herself or not, the narrative has shifted. She is no longer just the lonely wife fans sympathized with. She is now a more complicated figure, one whose actions as a parent left an indelible mark on the children in her care. Christine's quiet victory. Amid all of this, one thing becomes clear. Christine's way of parenting, gentle, joyful, protective, was the counterbalance that saved her children. She may not have been able to shield them from everything, but she gave them enough love to withstand the darker moments. And today, as her kids share their truth, it feels like a victory for Christine as well. Her decision to walk away from Kody, to put her happiness first, also gave her kids permission to reclaim their voices. The bigger lesson. The Brown story has always been more than just reality TV drama. It's a window into family dynamics, into the choices parents make and the lasting effects those choices have. Meri's shocking parenting truth is a reminder children never forget how adults made them feel. Rules fade, chores are forgotten, but the warmth or the coldness of a parent lasts forever. Christine's kids aren't just exposing Meri, they're teaching us all that silence protects dysfunction, but truth sets you free. What comes next? The Browns' legacy is still being written. Christine is thriving in her new marriage. Her kids are finding their voices, and even Janelle is carving out independence. Meri, however, faces a different path. Whether she acknowledges these claims or denies them, her image is forever changed. And perhaps that's the final twist in this long, winding story. The wife who was once seen as the victim may now be remembered as the one who left the deepest scars. Closing reflections. Christine's kids didn't speak out to be cruel. They spoke out because truth matters. Their silence protected Meri for years, but their courage today protects themselves and others who might learn from their story. The Browns taught the world about plural marriage, but Christine's kids are teaching the world something even more important, that children deserve love, not fear. And as fans, as parents, as grandparents, that's the lesson we carry forward. Meri Brown may have been the first wife, but Christine's kids are the first to finally tell the truth.